and you don't stop. Keep on. One time for your mind. Air horn noises. I'm assuming you heard that. What's good, everybody? It's your man, Manny Faces. My head looks so much skinnier when I don't have the headphones on. And I realized I don't really need the headphones on because I'm not really talking to anybody tonight. And that's not true. I do have a guest tonight, and a fantastic guest. You can see right here the topic, unlocking the hip-hop mindset. Ooh, what is that? It's amazing. It's I don't even have it, my prop ready. Look at this. Here it is, y'all. The hip-hop mindset. The hip-hop mind. That's going to be what we're talking about tonight. Here on Hip Hop Can Save America. Your man, Manny Faces. I'm getting situated. It's like the show before the show. I like to let y'all see what goes on as I get situated here. It's like behind the scenes, right? Word. All right, so let's see what's happening tonight. We got the hip-hop mindset, unlocking the hip-hop mindset. It sounds very mysterious, but it's also a way to succeed in the world. We're talking about success strategies for educators and other professionals. The hip-hop mindset. Amazing. Shouts to my man, Andrew Wang, in the building, one of our great supporters who's doing great things up in Yonkers, working with the great Jerome Enders up there, and shouts to my man, AJ Woodson. So much going on up in Yonkers. They're big fans and big friends of the show. Just wanted to shout them out. And I guess we'll let some people trickle in. Once again, we are having a great interview tonight. This is a long one. It's a good one with Dr. Toby Jenkins, author of The Hip-Hop Mindset, Success Strategies for Educators and Other Professionals. A fascinating book. You're going to love it. If you're here, if you're tuned in and turned up with me, you already know this is what we do. She's great. She's going to break it down. And without further ado, let's get rocking. What do y'all say we started off a little something like this? Hit it.
Manny Faces.
You sick for this one. Sick for this one. Sick for this one.
The thing about hip-hop today is it's smart. It's insightful. The way that they can communicate a complex message in a very short space is remarkable. And a lot of these kids, they're not going to be reading the New York Times. That's not how they're getting their information.
My hip-hop will rock and shock the nation. Hip-hop culture is more than music.
Peace to you and speak the truth. Show 'em what peace can do when there reach for you.
My hip-hop will rock and shock the nation. Rap is something you do. Hip-hop is something you live.
So hip-hop didn't invent anything, but hip-hop reinvented everything.
This is Baby Girl Faces, and this episode is brought to you by
That's right. Thanks to our super supporters. You can support us via Patreon. That's our method of choice. You go to patreon.com/Manny Faces. Once again, I am Manny Faces, hip-hop advocate, journalist, and all-around cool cat. I do a lot of things, but one thing I do is bring you this, the world's most enlightening hip-hop live stream. Tonight, once again, the hip-hop mindset, success strategies for educators and other professionals by Dr. Toby S. Jenkins. We're going to have a long talk. It's going to be fascinating, great conversation. All my conversations with folks doing amazing things with hip-hop in ways that can help uplift humanity are great talks, and this is just another one of them. You can support the show right there at the beginning. You see the names of our supporters. Thanks to everyone who's, putting a couple dollars into the pot to keep the lights on. It really helps put all this together and do it right and do it consistently. A couple of folks who weren't mentioned there, I just want to shout them out. I haven't updated everything you see, by the way, I do. So give me, bear with me sometimes when I don't get to a thing like the newsletter that I know I owe y'all, but also fixing that intro to also mention Kath, Morgan, Patrick, and Chris J. And yes, this week, another new Patreon supporter. Thank you so much to Adam. I'll tell you more about Adam. I didn't ask him if I could tell you more about him yet, so I got to find out if he's cool with me telling you more. But shouts to Adam for now becoming a patron at the $5 a month level. Really, it does help. My face looks so much skinnier when I don't have the headphones on. Normally I look like this. It looks huge and round and astronaut-like, but now I'm just a regular dude again. Anyway, so once again, tonight, unlocking the hip-hop mindset. First, I want to just remind people of a couple of really important events that are coming up. Again, here, so if you're just stumbling upon us for the first time, welcome. Thanks for coming through. Just to let you know that what we do is we talk about hip hop sort of on an elevated level, or just different ways. Not to say like music and entertainment is not elevated, because some of it, of course, is. But we like to focus on the ways that hip hop is being used outside of entertainment to uplift humanity or to improve lives and livelihoods. Very often, the lives and livelihoods and communities from whence hip hop came. We find that, hip hop being used in schools or as mental health therapy or in science and technology is sort of a great equalizer to go against all the oppressive forces that have held down, certain communities throughout the decades and centuries, to be honest. Hip hop is becoming a great equalizer. And I talk to the people that are doing that incredible work, and they don't have time to always like market themselves. They're out here doing the work, working with kids, saving lives, improving lives. And I like to bring them on a show and highlight them. So that's what I do. That's my job. So if that's interesting to you, that's what we do here. So once again, you can support the show, patreon.com/Manny Faces. You can also, if you're watching on any other platform besides YouTube, doesn't look like anybody is right now. You're all on YouTube. Very nice. You're following the assignment. I appreciate it. That's where we're going to, kind of migrate everybody to, so we can keep on doing that. And tonight, before we get into our interview, which I'm not going to take too much time, I want y'all to listen to Dr. Toby Jenkins talk about the hip-hop mindset, what that means, how that can make you be more successful in life, even if you're not a part of hip-hop, but if you are, that's great. Again, outside of the realms of entertainment. First, a few things that you should know about a segment that I like to call Hip-Hop News That Isn't About Dumb Shit. All right, and I'm not going to go through a lot of stories. I'm going to tell you where you can go to get some stories. I'm compiling them. I'm not going to go through them all tonight. Sometimes I like to bring stories of hip-hop innovation, inspiration, and insight that you won't catch on your normal hip-hop media. You probably won't find on your mainstream media. So again, hip-hop being used in like really inspiring ways. I like to amplify those stories. I'll show you where to get that at the end. But for the moment, just want to point out to a couple of things that I've told some of y'all about before. But if you're not aware of them, you should be. And let's see if I can get up here on the screen. What am I doing here? What's going on? Oh, right here. Add to scene. All right. So once again, the Hip Hop Youth Research and Activism Conference is happening March 16th. I've told you about this, but now it is confirmed that I'll be there. So shouts to my people up in the Bronx where the people are fresh. This is happening at Fordham University. This is just a great opportunity for people who are involved in academics, but also young people who are maybe high school aged or college age. So again, we talk, us older folk, we always want to get youth to be involved in hip hop and understand all the things that we got out of hip hop, all the counterculture and all the, fight the power type stuff and all the, listen to the elements and listen to the elders. This is an organization that I've been working with for many years where the young people themselves run the conference. And it focuses on hip hop, activism, and research, which are fantastic ways to look at hip hop from a young person's point of view to help, keep the culture growing and going. So you might want to check that out if you're in the New York City area. And that's happening March 16th up at Fordham. Usually happens at Rutgers University. So that was super dope. That always was super dope and will be super dope again. I wanted to say, oh, there you go. Adam, I hinted that I had a new supporter and I didn't know if it was okay to say who it was. And your name happens to be Adam. So reminds me that I should ask Adam, who's now a Patreon supporter, if I should shout him out directly and specifically. So thanks for reminding me of that. I'm not sure. I'm trying to keep things very, by the book. Shouts again to Andrew, who was in the conference last week that happened. This was the Wisconsin Music Educators Association, put on a great conference that I was a part of again, the Hip Hop Music Pedagogy Conference. Again, these are the kind of things that I talk about and tell people about. So be sure to keep tuning into this show because I don't think there's anyone else that brings you all this stuff. So if you're in this kind of world, you're going to love the stuff I talk about. So once again, the Hip Hop Youth Research and Activism. Yes, Andrew reminds me that I was the keynote speaker at the aforementioned conference, and it was an honor and a privilege to do so. We'll send information as a recap in the newsletter, which I'm going to tell you about at the end. So stick around for how you can find out about all these things. Again, if this is your first time or one of your few times checking in with us to learn about all these things. I spit these things out rapid fire, and you might want to, catch it, learn more. I can't put it in the chat, So we have a, all in one place that you can get this information. I'm going to tell you about it when I'm done blabbing. Again, the 8th annual Can't Stop Hip-Hop Conference is, just to go back to the Hip-Hop Youth Research and Activism Conference, what I'm doing there is I'll be mentoring. I always kind of help out and just, get in where we can fit in. Like I said, the young folk, and I say young, I mean like college folk, college kids, the kids, you know what I'm saying? Y'all all kids. But I'll be there conducting a podcasting session. So again, we think of hip hop a lot. I was just talking to my man, Bame Joyner here in Atlanta about this. We always, and I've talked about this on the show 1,000 times, we often think about hip hop as, music and the elements and the art form. And we need to let young people know more and more, even some of us older folk who are like looking for a way to continue in our lives, our hip hop ethos in spaces that aren't conducive to the artistry that we may have pursued when we were younger, being a rapper, being a DJ, being a producer, being a b-boy, being a beatboxer. And we can't do those things anymore because like we have real jobs, but there's so many opportunities to use our hip hopness in ways that can really advance whatever field or discipline we're in. Sometimes it's direct. I work in podcasting and it's journalism, but I'm able to incorporate music. And in fact, I'm able to incorporate rap by bringing in independent rap artists to create verses for these podcasts that we do. It's like, we like to say it's like Democracy Now! And Black Thought had a podcast, Baby. Like I would have never have thought, years ago that I'll be making news podcasts that incorporate rap in them. So as a producer, as a DJ, as a beat maker, and as a rapper, or, that I've done stuff and I've worked with rappers, and like, I was great to be the conduit for that. And I would have never thought that. So again, I'm talking about podcasting in this session specifically to say that, hip hop was always a way to get our message out, right? And specifically folks who weren't able to get their message out or get their identities known or feel like they were somebody, right? Think of where hip hop came from. And it still does that. We can still make music. In fact, we can make music easier than ever. We have home studios, we have computers, we have, stuff that we could, on our phones, we could make music. Like it's so accessible now, but it's not the only way. And that's what I always preach about, is that there are other ways to get the message out. I'll be on a panel tomorrow in Atlanta. If you're in Atlanta, please come through, hit me up. I'll give you the information in a minute. Social justice and hip hop, right? We're going to talk about that combination throughout history, past, present, and future. And my future is that social justice with hip hop, isn't just music. It's not just making songs and protest music. It's taking our hip hop ethos, the things that we know, the things that we've learned, the experiences that we've had being hip hop minded folk, and applying them to the societal ills that we face today. We're going to talk about that tonight, by the way. I'll remind you, the hip hop mindset, success strategies for educators and other professionals. It goes into what I'm talking about and really what I've been talking about for 1,000 billion jillion years. But we'll get into it. So again, podcasting and hip hop are not things you normally think of as being, kind of connected or being able to be used together to help, express oneself or, express the frustrations of a community or tackle social issues or social pressures or social societal ills. And it is, and I can show you how. And I'm going to be talking about it there. And I'll talk about it wherever you are, I'll talk about it wherever you are too. How about that? How about those apples? All right. I'm going fast because I want to get to this interview. It's a good one. Once again, same thing happening up at Harvard, the Harvard Graduate School of Education, the 8th annual Can't Stop Hip Hop Conference. Again, I am very academic focused on this show, but I also tell artists and people who are loosely connected to the culture, again, journalists. Let me tell you something. If you're a journalist or a journalist, a hip hop journalist or a mainstream journalist, tell them to go to these events. I've been to these events as a journalist and I've been to these events as a participant. There's not many people that cover these events, but yet they're just so inspiring. You see young people and college-aged people looking and acting and participating in hip hop in so many ways that even hip hop heads don't think exist anymore. It's so refreshing. So I don't care if you're a hip hop is dead and the kids today kind of person. Go to Harvard. These things are free. These are free conferences. Just go to, if you're in New York, if you're in Harvard, and I can give you a bunch of others happening throughout the country. Go and be inspired by the young people and all the things they're doing. Anyway, we got a story to tell. Stories of healing, joy, and progress with and through hip hop. I've been there for many years. I don't think I'm making this one, but please go check it out. There's always great sessions and people doing incredible work at these things. Again, if you're in Atlanta, I will be at the Hip Hop Congress, ATL, Hip Hop and Social Justice panel. That's tomorrow. Again, free. RSVP. You can find it at all my social media. You can find it. You know where to find me, I hope. If not, Google Manny Faces. I'm all over the place. This will be a great discussion. Again, the intersection of hip hop and social justice, particularly in Atlanta. But I think since I'm just new to Atlanta by a couple of years, well, I'll have some things to say. So that's happening tomorrow. As I talk about now, here's again where you can get this kind of information. I know I've ran through these things quickly, and I've also told you about them in the past as they're coming up, and I have more. I'm not going to go through them all tonight because I'll do an hour of hip hop news today and about dumb-ish, and I want to get to the interview. So here's your homework. You got 2 things that y'all need to do listening. All right. Number 1 is make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. You're all watching on YouTube right now, live. If you're watching on the replay, you're watching it on YouTube, but make sure you've subscribed right now. Just check, see if you're subscribed. Give me a thumbs up. Do the thumbs up thing. That's dope. Y'all can do that. That'd be great. Appreciate that. And share it. Just share it real quick. Let people know because the conversations we're about to have with Dr. Jenkins is going to be great. So do that. Do that real quick. I wouldn't mind. I think it'd be great. That's what we got to do because no one's paying me to do this. Except for my great, wonderful, fantastic supporters who help contribute and do that through Patreon. But you know, if we don't get the word out, what's gonna happen? I'm just gonna stop doing it. I mean, I probably won't, but you know what I'm saying. Like I'm trying to threaten y'all. Anyway, thumbs up, share it, subscribe. Make sure those 3 things are done. I appreciate you. This is the Words I Manifest newsletter. This is your other piece of homework, and I'm putting it in the chat. Can't wait till I get a co-producer here, substack.com. All right, man, it's a Substack. It's free, although you can also subscribe. I got a couple of subscribers on Substack as well, which is pretty dope. But what this is this is a newsletter that I put out semi-frequently. I promise you there's one coming this week. I promise. And it's going to recap the last couple of episodes. I'm going to put a bunch of stories and all kinds of upcoming events like the ones we're talking about. So please check in on that. Sign up for it. It's free. I put a lot of work into it. That's why it takes me a while to do them. And that's that. So once again, just a quick roll call. Shouts to Andrew Wang, who likes my hat. Thank you very much. My hat game tight. Y'all know me. It's one thing I got going on over here. And that's that. So we're going to do that. Hey, we go full screen. Why can't I go full screen? There we go. ODB, rocking an ODB, getting my ensemble right. Got my color coordination going on. So I appreciate that. Again, Adam Cruz, what's up? Randy Swigum is back in the building. Randy Swigum, of course, helped orchestrate that wonderful panel that we talked about last week. I'll do a little recap of that in the newsletter and make sure that we let people know what happened there. Again, something that journalists aren't covering, people aren't talking about, except if you were in that room, but it's worth talking about. So I'm going to make sure I do that. That is what I do. Yeah, shouts to Emil X. Yep, Emil will be around in the building, Andrew. No question. He's going to be a guest on the show as well. Shouts to the South African connection. Once again, our good friend Chosen, Prism, and all of us at Chosen Hip Hop. Glad to see more of these discussions on the personal and professional benefits of teaching hip hop culture properly. So we're trying to do. There's a lot of people that do things this way, do things that way. So we try to get a lot of voices in the room to make sure that we're all meeting everybody. Somewhere in the middle, I guess, but I think we do it right over here. So if you agree, give the video a thumbs up, share it, and make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications if you can. So that's it. Let's get into this wonderful conversation. I was waiting for a long time. I've known Dr. Jenkins for a while, online, kind of through the circle, and we had never been in the same place at the same time. I heard she was writing this book, and I was like, I'm trying to write a book, y'all, for a long time. So part of me hates everyone who writes a book, and I don't know why I invite them on the show because I'm jealous and I hate them and I despise them. But I love Dr. Jenkins so much, and I hate this book so much because it's the perfect book. It's just such a great book about what we do when we talk about using hip hop in ways that can help benefit, the world, right? Yes, we want to benefit the communities from whence hip hop came. That's first and foremost. Like I said earlier, pardon me, hip hop is a grand equalizer. We've seen it be able to do what traditional education can't do. We've seen it do things to young black and brown kids that mental health therapy, traditional Western white Eurocentric, mental health therapy can't do. We've seen it change industries, invent industries, remix industries, flip it, smack it, rub it down. And unlike anything else, in the world that gave, some form of equity, some form of agency to young folks who created this music and this culture. But we also know that it can help universally. It's a welcoming and inclusive and beautiful culture that has gone global for a reason, that it does welcome everybody in who comes in with authenticity and intent. And one of the ways that we who are inherently hip hop know how to do things, and it kind of comes out in our lens, like our worldview, the lens which with we see the world, but we don't often know how to describe it. And I've talked about this to educators who try to bring hip hop programs into the school, and it's like we know how to, we know the rules of the cipher, right? No matter, no one taught us the rules of a rap cipher. I should tell y'all about this other thing I went to this week in Atlanta. Atlanta's popping. And shout out to my people in New York, and shout out to my people everywhere. Wherever you are, tell me what's going on, and I'll share information. I'll spread the love. I'll come and visit y'all. It's all good. But the cipher, no one taught us those rules, and we know what to do. And when you try to bring that to a school and say, we want to use a rap cipher, we want to use a dance cipher, we want to use a knowledge cipher, and they're like, I don't get it. And then you explain that what we're doing, because how we know to operate a cipher is really social and emotional intelligence and social emotional learning. Oh, I know those terms. And I remember my very first interview on the show, Dr. Bettina Love taught me this and said, when we put it in the terms that they understand, then they're like, oh, that sounds great. But if you just say, hey, we're doing a hip hop cipher, they're like, boo, I don't. So anyway, we don't always know how to put it into words. I love the fact that Dr. Toby Jenkins, put it into words, the things that we do so well that could be used in other ways. So it is for educators, but as we talk about in the interview, it's also for people in professional settings. There's just so much improvement. It's like a self-help guide from hip hop. And why wouldn't that be valuable to the world? So we're going to talk about that now. It's a pre-recorded interview. You'll see I didn't change my clothes that fast. It's a pre-recorded interview. So you can't interact with her directly in the chat, but you can interact with me indirectly in the chat. So I'll be there a little bit more active than I usually am when I'm doing the interviews, because I can concentrate now. So once again, let's get into it. Again, if you feel this is worthy, really, if you could buy me a coffee a month, right? $5 a month, patreon.com/ like once a month, once every 30 days. Oh man, I haven't seen you in a month. Like, hey, what's good? Hey, you want a coffee? Yeah, sure. $5. Cool. I think you can swing it. It really does help. It adds up. And again, shouts to Adam, our latest contributor, and Andrew, who's here in the building, Dr. Raphael Travis, who's contributed in the past. All of our wonderful supporters. I appreciate y'all very, very much. I hate to do it. I'm looking for funding that keeps me independent so that we don't have to nickel and dime anymore. So, but for now, it kind of helps. All right, so that's it. Let's get into it. If y'all with me, see me in the comments, in the chat. I'll be rocking with you. But right now, a very great discussion with Dr. Toby. Dr. Toby Jenkins, good morning for us, but good evening for anyone watching. How you doing?
Hi there. Doing well. It's a good day.
It's well, you know what? These days I'll take good days. Good days are great days.
Hey, it's a good day. Woke up.
Right.
I'm here.
As you know, I've been looking forward to doing this for a while. Thank you for your patience as I retooled the situation here. It's much more beautiful and flowing, which is fitting for you to be here now. So I appreciate your patience. But again, thank you for spending some time with me today.
Yeah. Well, always a pleasure to be in space and community. I'm so excited about finally getting on this podcast that I absolutely love. So it is an honor. It's an absolute honor.
Well, you know the honor's mine, but I do appreciate the appreciation. I appreciate you. So we're here to talk, as I've introduced folks to you, about you in general, obviously, not just this product that you have,
Right.
but the Hip-Hop Mindset, the book that you have out, Success Strategies for Educators and Other Professionals. I told you when I saw you, I guess we were at Howard, perhaps, when I saw you in person. And I said, you wrote the perfect book for folks who are doing like the work we do in this hip hop advocacy as a way to uplift humanity in all these different areas. It's just the perfect encapsulation of what we know and feel and inherently, want to express to other people, but you did it so well. Just for those who are not familiar with the book, just the log line, what's the basic, synopsis of what this book entails to you?
Right. And so so first, let me say that when I first came to approach the project, my focus was not necessarily just educators, because what we all know is that the culture, the community, the mindset that it produces is relevant to everyone. That's regardless of what field you work in, you don't have to be an educator. You don't have to be doing hip hop education for this to be relevant to you. It's a leadership strategy. And really, that was my goal, to create a leadership book. Now, I published it with an education publisher, and they were like, we need the word education somewhere in this title.
Fair enough.
So yeah. So I added
that is the best part to me, is that it's not just for educators. Absolutely, 100%.
Right. Because we move and we use it and we flow in various aspects of our lives. And so, we work in the realm of education, but even if we were working in business or in politics or in healthcare or, whatever, PR marketing, it's still relevant. But the concepts are nothing new to folks that have been doing this work and really championing hip hop culture and hip hop education for years. What I wanted to contribute was just laying it down and saying it plain and documenting it as a professional mindset and a leadership practice for others, like you said, for others to understand and to know and to recognize that our cultures produce more than the entertainment aspects of what people kind of associate when they think of hip hop. But yeah, so the book is really about the ways of being, the mindsets, the ways of thinking, moving, showing up in the world that hip hop culture inspires and teaches and produces in those that really embrace and become a part of the culture in some ways, right? So many people who might not ever, they might, secretly in their house do some rhymes and say amongst friends, in the safety of friends and stuff. But they might not necessarily get on a stage and spit and just saying, doing all of that. They don't, even the people that don't situate themselves as artists are still situate themselves as hip hop. They still embrace and embody a spirit and a mindset of hip hop that really influences how they show up and how they move in their professional settings, in their educational settings, in wherever the spaces that they enter, and it propels them to greatness. And I really wanted to document these gems, these the success mindsets have been so popular lately and everything. And one of the things that I've always said as an academic, I've had a lot of education, a lot of years of education. I sat in a lot of classrooms, a lot of boardrooms, a lot of retreats, a lot of conference centers and stuff like that. But the stuff that I learned that sets me apart and makes my work magic didn't come from those spaces. It came from my culture and my community, including spaces like hip hop, but also spaces like my neighborhood, my family, my squad and everything, whatever. So.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned that, we're an academic. I've stumbled my way into academia. I'm not an academic by trade or by degree, but I attribute everything I now do or know or have learned or have been able to weave my way through life based on this kind of hip hop mindset, this hip hop ethos that we get when we're younger, and we realize that, you know, we want to do some things. And I learned this from obviously communities that have, this is part of their DNA, where it's like, we can't do the things we want to do. We're held off. We're blocked off. We're going to come in and do it. We're going to come in the side door if we can't come in the front. We're going to smack it, flip it, rub it down, remix it, you know, remake it. And that's where I learned how to do all of the, you know, creative or, you know, ways to get through life when you don't have necessarily all the traditional accolades. And I think that hip hop, you know, is a fuel for that. And again, across all industries, which is a great, it's a point we want to make all the time because of the focus of the entertainment. Everyone, you know, generally speaking, you think it's entertainment. What always bugs me is that people say, you know, hip hop doesn't have that, you know, that counterculture thing anymore. And I'm like, I'm talking to a hip hop educator in a college that teaches hip hop class. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's pretty counterculture. That's pretty getting inside and looking to change the landscape a bit.
Right.
Tell me about the neighborhood. Let's go back a little bit, then we'll come back forward if you don't mind. You know, where did you grow up? What was your, you know, first early connection to hip hop? How did hip hop shape, you know, you in conjunction with obviously the cultural and familial situations that you had growing up? Where did you grow up? How was it like?
Right. So here in Columbia, South Carolina, where I work at the University of South Carolina, this is my hometown. So me coming back to USC was me coming home. And I was here until about 20 years old. So I went to college here at USC as an undergrad. And but I grew up here, right? So I wasn't necessarily and I grew up, you know, I'm a mid 70s baby, whatever, right? So I'm growing up during the kind of crux of like 80s, 90s hip hop and, you know, all that stuff, whatever.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you.
Right. So, you know, it was really heavy New York. And then kind of towards the tail end, like really when we were coming out of college and everything, the Southern rap started taking form and shape and everything. But it was, you know, I was in a Southern space and consuming the music and the culture and the videos. And I talk about this a little bit in the book because what I share in that is how, you know, because of a lack of, you know, my family didn't travel on huge vacations and stuff. I'd never been to New York City. Right. So as a little Southern child, I'm learning about New York from the media. Right. And that's what I was saying in the book. The word on the street was, you know, New York was a rough place. And so, but really consuming hip hop culture was my kind of cultural geography, you know, social studies kind of lessons of helping me to understand what the real reality was for my people in other places, right? That their experience did look, you know, probably was different from my experience here in South Carolina, and it feeling very kind of, I don't know, country and you know, all this.
Right. It's definitely what us New Yorkers thought. Definitely.
Right. I mean, I'm from down here, right? But
I'm in Atlanta now, so I did the thing that New Yorkers do, and I just moved to Georgia. So, you know, maybe I'm, you know, I can
yeah. But you know, a town like Columbia, you know, it's a big city to us and to people in rural areas in South Carolina. But to a New Yorker, Columbia is a very small town, and so but the music videos. Watching, and I don't know, I was just one of those kids that was just consumed with hip hop. Like I just loved it. It spoke to me. You know, I was watching every video. I was, you know, subscribing to buying the magazines. I was writing the lyrics down so that I could, you know, learn them and remember them, and you know, and everything. I knew all the dances and the routines for all the music videos and everything. But it endured me to, I think, you know, young people in New York and helped to demystify what all these stereotypes and lies that people were telling about them. Right. So, you know, I joke in the book about how, you know, I'm like, Special ed didn't look like a thug to me. He looked dreamy. You know what I'm saying? I had a
Fair
real
enough.
question, on special ed, but that was the thing. Like we
Right.
saw talent and just magic
Right.
and ability, and we adored the same people that I think many schools, society at large, media were vilifying
Right.
and saying that they weren't that they were divergent from the status quo and everything. And it was like, oh, but that's what we want to be. I want to be like that. I want to dress like that. I want to that type of thing. So that's kind of where I was coming from. And then because of my love of music, as an undergrad, so I was a PR major,
Okay.
and I was very adamant that I wanted to be a publicist in the music industry. And so I started interning for a lot of record companies and everything during my so I found these ways. But again, the spirit of, I think, hip hop, like how do you get connected
Mm.
to an industry that is such a New York and California type of space, and you in Columbia, South Carolina,
Right.
but I mean, I was grinding it out, like really reading biographies of people and just looking at how they were just creating their own opportunities and everything, right? So I got connected with the South Carolina record pool. So at that time, record pools were big.
Yep.
They sourced all of the vinyl for DJs and stuff like that or whatever. And so I got in that realm, and then started interning for major companies and stuff like that here in South Carolina, because of course radio promotion and stuff like that, you have regional reps
Sure.
that you can work with or whatever. And so and then I soon learned that the industry itself wasn't necessarily, oh, I love music and I'm good at PR and that this is the perfect job. It was a little more
A
to
little more
it.
political, a little politics
Right,
and
a little
all
more
the yeah.
political than that or whatever.
Yeah.
So I ultimately decided not to go that route. But yeah, I mean, I my love for it, started very young and really moved with me into academia. When I first started as in higher education,
Mhm.
I didn't start as a professor. I didn't necessarily want to be an academic. I started as an advisor, like an entertainment buyer. I planned the concerts and the comedy shows and things like that or whatever on college
Mm.
campuses, advised the campus program boards. And so I was
Sure.
still doing the kind of stuff that I love with concert
Right.
promotion and stuff like that, but just did it in an environment in higher education that was a little more less gully.
What's really interesting about all of this is that you took your hip hop wherever you went and into every lane, and then obviously then you pivoted to saying, well, maybe I should become a teacher proper, right? Instead of just planning
Right.
concerts.
Yeah, but I think even that pivot to academia, I don't know if I necessarily came into the professorate to teach.
Okay.
A lot of people don't want to admit that.
Fair enough. I
Whatever,
like the give me the inside tea. I like it. I want to know how y'all think about these things. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, because there's layers to the responsibility of the role.
Sure.
To expect everybody to love absolutely all three parts of teaching, research, and in the service work is
Right. Fair enough.
But yeah, the what we deem as service, like practice, has always been my thing. I ran
Right.
university cultural centers and like I said, planned events and stuff like that.
Right.
So that element of it, but I really got into it to research. And again, with this idea of it's important to document and talk about and write about the work that we were all doing in cultural centers, and you know what I'm saying, and kind of valuing the creative and cultural space that things like hip hop engagement and hip hop education was creating on college campuses and everything. People weren't, just wasn't a lot of people writing about it. There wasn't a lot of people championing it and everything. And so, I just had this conversation yesterday about the idea of high impact practices and, these what people have deemed these really important educational experiences that they're saying college students, but I mean, anybody that teaches can say that, but that college students need to have in their college experience to make it rich and meaningful. Right. But those high impact practices have been identified, and they mainly come from the things that people like the professionals create, the programs and initiatives that they've come up with, and they're identifying these as these are important, these are living learning communities are important, but these are but what about these self-created dynamic spaces of leadership development and professional development and cultural identity development in dance organizations and hip-hop organizations, and that students kind of create themselves because nobody else is creating it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's building up this ingenuity, this entrepreneurship, like all of these professional skills that because nobody's, these others aren't looking over here. These others that really deem what leadership is and what they aren't looking over here. And so some
it's
of
all
us,
the same stuff.
it's all the same stuff.
It's all the stuff they want students to have. They're doing it on their own. You just don't know about it.
Right. And you see it and you qualify it as, oh, that's art, as if people don't get leadership development from.
That's a hobby.
They're just
hanging out.
Yeah. So.
Well, I appreciate that translation. Obviously good friend to both of us, someone we both look at, Dr. Bettina Love. The first interviewee that I had on this podcast ever, which set the tone forever. The very first thing I learned was that ability to translate, right? That these characteristics live in hip hop as an ethos. And again, there's a Venn diagram to like where, Black culture and, that again, resistance and perseverance and all that stuff comes from that necessity throughout the years. But also the hip hop side to it is sort of artistic, creative, but also brings people in. So, it's an inclusive culture. So when you have people coming in with their own perspectives from their own cultural or denominational background, then there's a nice new mix, again, remixing and remaking all the time. And that stuff is so valuable. But to her point, to your point, is that that's not something that the traditionalists or folks who are not familiar with the culture understand. So you have to translate it. You have to put it into, as you said, for the book, lay it out so that it's clear and understandable that this equals this. We don't always know how to say, as Dr. Love said, social and emotional intelligence, but that's what's happening in the cipher. You know what I mean? Like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, so part of that translation is I wanted to get to the sort of the tenets of the hip hop mindset framework, because I think that's what you've done, is that you've found really succinct ways or clear ways to say, okay, this thing that we do that we know how to do, or we know how to, this is what it means, and how to translate that. So I thought that'd be a good segue for that. Unless you had it.
Sounds great. Let's get it.
So you have these, so you've set this up, and this is the beginning of the book. And by the way, the book is great. You go through this whole, your I don't even say theory, your concept, or, the way you're collecting all of these thoughts. You've interviewed a bunch of folks from within, for the most part, sort of the hip hop academic space. But again, hip hop academics are very often hip hop practitioners in a way, not only like being an artist or a dancer, Aisha Upchurch and them folk, but also just in the way they carry themselves through life. They are hip hop. And that's the whole thing here. So I don't know, run down the mindset, the framework, these 9 kind of tenets that you have, or just pick a couple and just, again, for the lay person who's tuning in saying, I don't know, hip hop mindset can make me a better executive. How do you figure? You know what I mean? What are some of the key tenets, or why did you frame it out that way? Hunger, competitiveness, honor and kinship, creativity, authenticity, ingenuity, confidence, claiming space, and commanding attention. Any or all of those are very worth exploring a little bit here.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start with one that the aspect that would probably be shared, like you're talking about, like a business executive, and they're like, how can it, so the that one pillar of the first one of drive, right? So that share, anyone will agree that anyone who is committed to success or who wants to be successful has to be driven, right? And so drive is a general shared concept of, among success mindsets and everything, whatever. But it's kind of the way that that hip hop cultural and in communities kind of frame and approach it, right? So this idea of being hungry, and or wanting to like is say in a culture be put on or whatever, right? That there has to be this initial kind of spark or spirit, or just hard-headed desire, you know what I'm saying? Like I talk about in the book how, like, if you align it with hunting, that only animals who are hungry hunt, right? They're the ones, like, they're out on the prowl looking for opportunity, looking for whatever. When they're not hungry, they're laid back, satiated,
They're comfortable.
right, they're comfortable, right? So hunger is the thing that makes you get up. And it is absolutely something that's shared across many people who identify with hip hop, who see themselves a lot as successful, as as brilliant as well, what I'm saying, or whatever. But they share this hunger. And then the thing is that it's continued hunger. Like it's not like I get one thing and then I stop. Right? No, it's like the record deal might be the first goal, back in the day. There were, it might be the first goal. But you never stop being hungry for to achieve something, right? So you get that check, great, we celebrate, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But then the next thing is I'm trying to be number one. I'm trying to hit a number one record. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to go platinum. I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get a Grammy. You're always pushing yourself to continue to work and strive and to chase greatness, right? And so that hunger pulls you, it pushes you in that direction. The other piece is this idea of competitiveness, right? Because I think particularly in educational spaces, a lot of people are negative about competition because of how poorly they handle or have, it has been handled in many educational spaces before, right? So, pitting students against each other and labeling students as superior and nobodies, or however you want to call them, or whatever.
The dunce cap or something.
Right. So, all these ways that we've made competition. I'm sorry, I don't need to own that they've made competition a really negative kind of space to live in. But when you go into cultures like hip hop, you see that competition can really be a healthy space. It can be the space that in a really beautiful and healthy ways pushes you to get better, right? And one of the best examples of that is the cipher. The idea that we are too fragile to be nervous, to mess up, to lose, you know what I'm saying, to just experience what it is to not win at everything or whatever. No, in life, the things that you really want, they are going to require work. They are going to require you to probably have the guts to just get out there and try to get out into the arena and compete. And you might lose, but you learn from that, right? Colleague Timothy Jones talked about that in his interview, that that you learn from losing. I mean, it teaches you so much about yourself. Jay-Z said it. I quoted Jay-Z in the book that being competitive teaches you all the things you're good at, and it teaches you all the things that you're not so good at that you need to work on. But that's clarity that you know what I'm saying that you need. And so when we inspire people and we create this healthy competition or competitive spaces where everyone feels able, Everyone feels brilliant. Everyone is told that they can compete. Everyone's told that they have the ability to be the number one or whatever. Now everybody, let's go and work on it and get it and push each other. And right, that's what happens in a cipher. Everybody standing in that circle believes that they can come out and kill that cipher. But it doesn't stop them from clapping up the person in the middle when they're in the middle, right?
Or collaborate. Let's collaborate. Yo, that was great. Let's work. Right.
Let's
of
work.
course.
Let's work.
Right.
Like what you did was dope. And I'm going to admit that. I'm not going to sit here and act like a downplay and you know what I'm saying? I'm not, I'm going to react. And you're going to feel great for my reaction. But you better believe that when it's my turn, I'm trying to crush you. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to absolutely crush what you just did. That's a healthy kind of competition that we can have, whether it's in a work environment, a team environment, a classroom environment. That's the type of competition that makes people feel alive. And many young people will respond to that type of enlivened learning experience, that type of enlivened classroom, as opposed to this kind of dead meat, space where now no one, everybody's just scared of competing.
An authority figure, or that shyness, so you don't. No one helps you break out of that. Because even in ciphers, you'll see like people who are maybe just admiring a cipher. I think you talked about this where you knew all the dance moves, but you weren't getting out there and dancing. Like, but at some point, someone, or maybe you did on your own, you kind of inched into it and tried it one time, and someone, hey, no, come on, you're good, you can come, let's, and then you get that, that moral support you get, and then now all of a sudden you're addicted. Them shackles have come off.
Get out there, right.
And so the power of the cipher.
Yeah, the power of the cipher. And so, but that's what I'm saying. Like, this idea that what we don't need to do is just because people did it wrong is completely trash a concept. Competition, what we need to do is reframe our relationship and our understanding of and how we define competition and how we approach it. But we absolutely need to create these energetic, inspiring, and competitive environments that bring out the best in anyone, professionals or students or whoever. The other thing was this idea of honor and kinship. And
I love this one. Talk about it.
Yeah, right. So and I put it in with, because so many people talked about it in their stories about being hungry and first seeking opportunity and everything, right? So it's a function of drive and competition. But you would think that normally how we usually understand being driven and everything is being like cutthroat, individualistic, right? Throwing everybody on the bus, trying to,
That's right.
Right.
There can only be one.
Right. It can only be one. And we know that is absolutely not true, right? That's absolutely not true. How many, I know y'all been having these conversations about the relevance of the Grammys, but for real, how many people walk away with a Grammy? You know what I'm saying? Like there's room and space for winners.
Sure. Right. Right. And a spectrum of styles and yeah, of course, everyone can eat.
Right. And so it doesn't have to just be one, but one of the things within hip hop is this idea that that being a part of a community, that being part of a crew, a squad, or whatever makes you better. That's how you are able to build yourself up and refine yourself to be able to compete, right? Because those are the people that you, like you said, you collaborate with. Those are the people that give you honest and real feedback. No. You need to come again with that one. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's that battle. It's that not battle, but it's a battle. It's what was it? Iron sharpens iron, right? It's just that concept. Yeah.
Right. And we need that. All of us need the not groupies, not people that are just going to tell us what we want to hear. Right. It's too often in professional settings, that's what staff members become to senior leaders, right? Group.
Right. That's right.
As opposed to truth tellers. Right. And that's why organizations can't get better. And we need people that are that love us enough to tell us the truth and to really be invested in seeing us shine. So much so that, like you said, they're sharpening us up. The other part of community and honor is once you get an opportunity that you're giving it, you're creating space for other people. You're bringing people along, right? So throughout, I mean, when you go back to the history of it, you see, I talk about it in the book how, like, for a long time, I was like, how are these people from like these housing projects getting all these record deals? With, you know what I'm saying? Because you're so isolated from society. Like, you are literally pushed on the margins of society with no connection to anything. And then they're able to get themselves situated to become like these superstars and everything, right? And I'm like, shoot, I'm struggling. I'm here in a college and everything. I can't get get an in at a record company. Like, I can't even get, I'm trying to make that connection. How are they? Because somebody from that project community came, got a deal, and then they open that space for other people to come. And so there's this expectation that you help. Emery Predator was talking about how, when he was the early years of DJing, the whole carrying crates and stuff like that, that you begin to recognize that, oh, when somebody invites me to carry, a DJ invites me to carry their crates to their gig, they're giving me an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? They're bringing me along. They're going to help me meet people and
mentorship and apprentice. It's the new apprenticeship at that time. It was apprenticeship. Yeah.
Yeah. So you make this space, right? I call it passing the mic, and a lot of people need to check themselves on that. Like, who you have the microphone, and it's important that when you have it, that you use it in a powerful way. But then, who else are you passing the mic to? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you helping other people to come along? A lot of ways. When I look back at my professional career, I assess my success by how all of how are the people that I led, how are they doing? You know what I'm saying? What's their life looking like right now? You know what I'm saying? That's why with a Tony Keith and a Crystal Isley, and I see all the stuff that they're doing and everything, and how I'm like, yes, that means that that I was doing good work, not little annual reports and things like. How are the people that are with you, how are their lives made better as a result of working with you in some ways? Who are you passing the mic to so that they can go on and do even better things than you've been able to do? And so that all is still a part of this whole idea of being driven or drive in hip hop culture. And it's a very different way of thinking and framing or whatever of drive that I think that we've seen in other spaces or whatever. And so that's why I'm saying I think there's so much that people can learn, leadership approaches and philosophies and ways to think that they can learn from hip hop.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they can, learn it for themselves, but also learn that they need to bring in hip hop minded folk, because again, they're going to see these problems in a different way. They're going to know problem solving in a different way. And I think that part of that comes from, you mentioned the sort of the hunger is because you're not ever comfortable, right? Because you're not, as a young person, again, primarily even in communities of color, but even if, I'm a white guy from Long Island, I'm trying to do hip hop, that was not comfortable. It wasn't cool at the time. It was not, you know what I mean? You had to work cross culturally. Now I had to work, respectfully, authenticity, make sure I'm being respectful. I get checked when I'm not. And that's kind of a, we haven't even talked about, the ability of now to work across different, cultural or ethnic, lines with respect and with understanding, which hip hop does, like, I don't know, no other culture that I know of, to be honest. And so you get that because you're never, when you're trying to do hip hop, first of all, like you said, if you want to do it from the artistic sense, the whole world is looking at you like, that's not music. That's not real. That's not, and we talked about academics. The reason why I didn't, go through college, of course, is because my dad was a distinguished professor of sociology. And of course, the shoemaker's son don't have no shoes, because I didn't want to go that route. I got a lot from osmosis. He was a brilliant guy. But we used to have the arguments. He was an old jazz and blues guy. He was, interviewing BB King, and doing all these things when he was in college. And he's like, that's not music. And we would have these arguments. So even with my dad, who I, look up to as my, the most brilliant man. And, he's like, that's not, get a job and just go to school and do the things, so none of us are comfortable when we're trying to pursue these things. And so but you do it and you find a way to get it done, even though you're not comfortable. And business leaders who might have come up through the ranks, academics who might have come up through the ranks and always felt, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm comfortable. I got the hookup. I got the plug. They're not always used to feeling uncomfortable.
Right.
And I think that gives us a little edge, right?
Right. But see, I feel like now a lot of people are feeling uncomfortable because
That's a good point. They don't know how to cope when they are uncomfortable.
Right. They don't.
Right.
They don't.
Right.
But it's like some of the post-pandemic fallout that businesses and professional fields, a lot of industries are feeling now makes these type, like understanding this type of leadership perspective really, really important, because the reality is young professionals aren't having it. You know what I'm saying? They just aren't having it. They are not. Yeah, that's why. I mean, this is gonna sound like really stereotypical, but I mean, I'm in the South. Fried chicken is really big down here, right. And I mean, you go to some of these restaurants and they're closing at 4:00, and it's like, yeah, right. When have you ever seen Bojangles closed at 4:00? But it's because they don't have staff. They don't have people are just not here for working these heartless, unfulfilling jobs in spaces where people just expect you to be to feel like you should just be grateful to have a job and don't appreciate you and value you and everything, whatever. And so they're like, forget it. I'd rather just do nothing. So that's what I'm saying, like understanding what it is to create an inspiring professional space for people that does feed them in really, really important ways. One of the things that I always keep saying about hip hop culture and how welcoming, it is that and how different it sometimes can be from these professionally exclusive places or spaces. It's like, the closer you get to hip hop, as much as people try to make hip hop out to be, rude and intimidating and aggressive and everything. But hip hop is one of those spaces that the closer you get to the culture, the fresher you feel. Right. So it's a cool culture, right? It's a culture where the music sounds fresh, where people, the artists are fresh or whatever. But the closer you get to it, the louder the music plays in your car, it starts to make you feel a certain type of way, right? The closer you are to the stage at a concert, the fresher you feel, right? And that's exactly how educational spaces should make people feel. The longer I sit in a school, the more brilliant I should feel. Right. Why do we have doctoral students why do we have first year professors talking about imposter syndrome? They've been through 20 years of school. They should feel brilliant. But the very place that is supposed to inspire them and make them feel and know their genius makes them feel inadequate. That is the opposite of what a hip hop cultural environment does. Right.
It's brilliant. Oh, this is why this book is so perfect. You're perfect. Segueing into something, we got a few more minutes. I don't want to keep it too long, but segueing into something that you mentioned that's important, that's on my kind of note here is, that negative perception of hip hop, that negative perception of music, and if they even give it the credit of being a culture, that that when you go into these other spaces, or you try to go into the other spaces and carry some of these lessons, because just, you're trying to help the academic institutions, you're trying to help the business, environments, you're trying to help people cope in a way that, again, we as hip hop folk kind of have, in our tool bag. But you're going to get that resistance. You're going to get that pushback, just in general. Again, any lay person who might be listening and saying, well, I don't know about this. Hip hop is so negative. How could a black woman feel that hip hop is a way to, boost your anything, in life? And, I hate that we have to keep doing that and explaining it, but some of us do it really well. And so I wanted to say, how do you push back against the pushback? What is it that people need to know? As you know, I call this show Hip Hop Can Save America. And that's a lofty, concept. And we might need a lot more than just hip hop. But it's because of some of these ideas that you've talked about that we can translate into ways that help people. So how do you push back against the pushback when we're trying to say, no, we can really help people with hip hop? Don't write it off. How do you do that?
Right. So, my work, I'm going to go back to where I really
Take it
feel
wherever you need to go. Yeah.
the foundation of my philosophy on this comes from, but I think it comes from working in Black cultural centers, in leading Black cultural centers on college campuses. And that work was kind of unapologetically selfish. Like, we are here to do this. We are here to uplift and educate about, this particular type of culture, and and to champion that experience and everything. And we're not going to entertain inviting in doubt and
Negative energy and all
negative energy, internalized racism, any of that stuff that has held us down for so long, throughout history. And so
the reason why you had to even have those spaces in the first place.
Right.
Okay.
And that in particular, like when people would have a negative view of student activism and student activists, right? And so, there was a point for a lot of senior administrators, executive leaders, nothing boils them up more than a student activist, and they just did not, the reality, people were just began to not like, they didn't like some of the students, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't just like, there's such problematic. No, they didn't like some of the students.
Right.
And but the reality was, those students and what they were able to accomplish through their activism benefited the university more than any of those students that had held all their little offices and painted their face at all the games and attended all, you know what I'm saying? All of the team spirit, school spirit, all, all of the things. But they left college having had a good time and gotten a degree. These activists left college having created university cultural centers that lasted on campuses 30 years after they were gone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Legacy, creating scholarships and everything. Right. And so that's how I feel about hip hop culture. I say very plainly, look, oppression is meant to create a mess among communities, right? You cannot expect for Black and Latinx people to go through all that we have gone through, to have endured sheer terrorism and oppression and marginalization and all the things that we know that and it not be a little messy, that we don't have some people who are uneducated. That's what the intentionally designed system, not educating people,
not an accident.
This is what it was meant to create. So don't be shocked when you see it. Don't be shocked when you hear it in a lyric. But that doesn't mean that all of the community, that all of the race, that even all of the music or all of the culture is that. That it is much more, and even in some of that, there's still,
value.
There's still value. You know what I'm saying? Because even with an artist who is saying some absolutely ignorant shit, you know what I'm saying? Just some ignorant stuff. The fact that artist, who probably was, not valued in school, might have been kicked out of school, might not have finished school or whatever, but they picked up a pen to write after people are telling them that they're not intelligent, that they're not worthy, that they're not, and they can still pick up a microphone and talk about how brilliant they are. You know what I'm saying? Like there's
Right.
something there's something to that. And so you know, my belief in all of it is an unwillingness to believe anything horrible about my own community. You know what I'm saying? Like I know that that you know, and again, just coming from particularly the Southern culture that I've come from, where um brilliance is seen in a lot of different ways. And people mess up, and people, you know, whatever. Like I said, people aren't perfect, but that's also a thing. Like,
Yeah.
how do you, you know, through in the work that we were doing in cultural centers, a lot of it was self work in our communities. Like, you
Right.
know, the whole miseducation that Carter G. Woodson was talking about, and Lauryn Hill talked about. You know what I'm saying? Like like a lot of it was teaching our own people their history and the information about themselves that they needed to know to change their own minds about themselves, and to change their own minds about their people and everything. Well, if we push those people away, and we judge them, and we're, you know, saying that they're not worthy, or whatever, we lose an opportunity to transform lives and everything. Everybody is worthy. Everyone has worth. And I might not agree with everything everyone says or the way that everyone thinks. I might not have had the experiences that everyone has had. But we can still, I can still pull them in and include them in the cultural love that I think everyone needs. And would their minds be a little bit different if more people had pulled them in and given them some cultural love?
Yes. Well, yes.
Right.
Probably.
Right.
Fantastic. One way to do that is to go through life, depending on whether you're an educator or other professional, to go through life with a hip hop mindset.
Absolutely.
So I think that's what wraps it all into this. Again, it's just a pleasure to finally break it down. You have these perspectives shared with me, and we've talked, you know, offline very briefly, but I really wanted to get into this. I like I say, it's, to me, it's the bee's knees. And I think that it's a wonderful concept, and it's something that we need to share with as many people as possible, because we can, you know, uplift folks all over in all these disciplines. It's what I always talk about. I say hip hop, you know, the tenets of this show are, you know, hip hop can uplift humanity and improve society in areas like education, health and wellness, science and technology, politics and social justice, you know, and people are like, how? Well, I be trying to tell them and give, you know, space to people who are doing it. But it all kind of boils down to this. It really does. This is what can do it. And we can take that into different places. And I always say, hip hop, when applied this way, authentically and with intent, across any discipline or across any demographic, sure, but also most importantly, to uplift the lives and livelihoods and communities of those who, you know, birthed and nurtured hip hop to begin with.
Great.
You
Absolutely.
know, that's where the
And I
real
know we
value
can
is.
get into all of it, because that's the thing. I mean, it's a whole book.
It's a whole book.
But the, you know, the those two other big elements, the creativity and the posture, you know, it's the whole claiming space and stuff like that. Those were about, like, how do you engage work and in the self kind of development that people need, and as far as self-confidence and things of that nature or whatever, right? So like I said, you know, pulling them all together, I think it's just an approach and a mindset that really speaks to, particularly to young professionals today.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We'll push out all this information. Is there anything else? I know you just, you know, kind of glanced over that, but that's why they got to get the book. We can't give you all the gems here. You got to go pick it up. That's how it works.
Right.
How capitalism works, folks. But that being said, is there anything else that I didn't cover that you would love to get across? You know, the book, anything else coming up for you? Anything else that, you know, you'd want to share with folks, or, you know, that I might have not covered?
No, you know, I'm excited. So one of the things that I'm recently developed out of the book, I'm still trying to find space and time to dissect the book a little bit more, for folks or whatever. So I'm about to launch a series of videos of master classes, but like little shorts, master classes on some of the concepts of the hip hop mindset. So I'd say maybe look out for that on Instagram. And then I've been doing some, along with the keynotes that I've been giving on the book, had an opportunity in several spaces to, after the keynote, engage like a half day workspace and session, really diving into the concepts in kind of a retreat kind of environment or whatever. So I've created a workbook for self leadership and everything that's based on the book or whatever. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's just so much to unpack.
Right.
And I'm excited about the opportunity to get people to wrestle with this. I had a colleague recently finish the book, and she works in like hotel, restaurant, tourism, industry, whatever.
Sure.
And so she was talking about how she was like, yeah, I've read a lot of leadership and business books or whatever. And when I first picked it up, I was kind of like, well, I don't really listen to a whole lot of hip hop. I don't think but she was like, after I put the book down, I was like, I think I have a hip hop mindset, right? Because again, it really has nothing to do with your ability. Yeah, like whether you're a hip hop head or MC or anything. That's the beauty of the culture, that there's space for everyone to live in it, that who embrace it and respect it.
Yeah, amen. And I think that what someone can also do, what I really like was your explainer video that you had, kind of promoting the book, which goes into a little bit more, breakdown as well. So if people are interested, what's your website? Where do they go to find that and the book in general?
Sure, TobyJenkins.net. So TobyJenkins. .net, and that more on the book, a couple videos that explain the whole concept of the book, as well as the links to pick up a copy from Amazon on my website.
Perfect. Well, thank you again for your time. I'm glad we finally got to do this and do it right. And like I said, it's I've gone through this. I love, and we didn't get into it a whole lot, but I think that's a very valuable point you brought up, the idea of not just how to lead others, like, 'cause we were talking about leadership, but also how to deal with yourself, a little bit. And as we talked about,
people have been like just told that they need to stop. Don't be boisterous. Don't be whatever. Don't be,
right,
and I talk about how, braggadocio and bragging on yourself, that's self-love. And we need more of that, right?
Right. And again, even like I said, post-pandemic, there's more talk, it's in the zeitgeist of self-care. And how do we do that? How do we give ourselves a little bit of that boost? Well, here's another way that we know how to do as hip hop folk. We know how to do it inherently. We just sometimes we need a little help, seeing it ourselves. So
right, absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for this incredibly beautiful space that you've created and gifted to the world. Thank you for letting me occupy a little bit of it.
No, thank you so much. You are always welcome back. So thank you so much. All right, my friend. All right, I'm stopping it. Just give it a few seconds. There it is. You got the tail end of it. You got that extra little bit right there. One time for Toby Jenkins. See, man, you're mellow. Manny Faces. Peace to the comment section. We've been rocking. Peace to Natalie Crew at day one in the house. Always great to see you. Shouts to Mr. AJ Woodson. Shouted you out before you came, and now I'm shouting you out that you are here. Of course, Andrew Wang's been active, has great perspective on a lot of this stuff. Thank you, Natalie. And AJ said it was a good interview. I mean, it was a great guest. What can I do? Once again, it's hard to mess it up. The hip-hop mindset. Let me get off the glare. The hip-hop mindset. Success strategies for educators and other professionals. When I'm president, Andrew, I'll make her Secretary of Education. How you like that? Actually, I got a lot of people. We have a rotating we could have a council of education. Why should it be one person? Right? I'm already making policy changes. Y'all should just hire me to be president. That's not how presidents get made. You don't even make president. What am I saying? I have no words left. I use them all on the interview. Check it out. Thumbs up this interview. Subscribe. Make sure your notifications are turned on. Yes, we're here live every Monday, but you know I drop little gems throughout the week. You got to know about it. Mr. AJ Woodson ordered a copy of the book. I read the book. I can't read every book. Y'all missed last week. I had Murray Foreman on, who wrote this book. Well, not wrote it, but edited it. I can't read every book y'all send me. Jeez, what's wrong with y'all? But I did read the Hip Hop Mindset, and it's fascinating stuff. I really enjoyed it. I thought, it's helpful. So yeah. AJ, speaking about books, we got to holler. Don't think I don't know. It's all part of my plan. The time, I'm not always there when you call, but I'm always on time. So we're going to talk. Shouts to Bob Knutson, who says, I dig being able to learn about hip hop culture this way. Thanks, Manny. Well, I dig being able to teach about hip hop culture this way and share it with you, my friend, and others. I appreciate that. I appreciate that affirmation. Lets me know I'm doing the right thing. Just trying to do what I can to do what I do. Adam says, it's tough for teachers whose only model of teaching is the teacher as content expert to take on new ideas and perspectives. Hence, we perpetuate nothing but privileged knowledge. We need to disrupt that. I call hip hop a world-class disruptor. A world-class disruptor. Nothing disrupts. I don't know. No, again, across all industries, all disciplines, all, borders, whether it be, denominational, demographic, whatever. I don't think anything disrupts more than hip hop. So that's why we're in this game. Andrew was saying some things about, the traditional mechanisms, the machinations, and the inner workings of the education, red tape, bureaucracy. Yeah, that's the work. If all the principals got it, if all the boards of ed got it, if all the businesses got it, if all the creative advertising and marketing and all the different ways that people interact with people got it, and there'd be hip hop and equity and equality and diversity and inclusiveness and belonging all over the place. The tech world would be not 7%. You know what I mean? I think it was 7% Black, maybe 8% Hispanic, something like that, like wild low numbers compared to the rest of the employed public. If they got it, then I wouldn't have a job because they would get it. So the work this is what we're doing. Me and the wonderful people that tune into the show and do this work, that are in the chat making comments. This is what we do. This is the work. Tony Blackman, hey, good to see you again. I hope you caught some of this. Tony Blackman, Tony, I've told you 1,000 times, you're overdue. I welcome you, an open invite, but I will reach out personally and directly. If you just be like, yo, I want to come on the show and talk, it's wide open. There's nobody that gets more respect and dibs on this show than you. And so just know that I've been kind of saving it. I want to talk to you in depth. And just this is for me and you, just because I just feel like you have to know. And I think you come up every episode, and I would love to talk to you in depth. And I've been looking for it for a long time. I just wanted to be special, and I wanted to get all this right before we got on here and hollered. So that's that. Let's a few more comments before we close up. Chosen Hip Hop, the Declaration of Peace emphasizes that we should have hip hop cultural specialists that can credibly teach the culture. Others can teach what they learn from hip hop and direct people to resources. I appreciate that. And I think I personally value that, because that's kind of like how I view sort of the stuff that I do, and also talk about, others who are doing the work. I think it is up to folks to do that. I was saying earlier, I said in the chat, the white teacher that Andrew brought up, where he said there was a white teacher who was worried about teaching hip hop authentically. And I'm like, she should be worried about that. She should absolutely be questioning it and second guessing it and making sure that she could teach it authentically. And it doesn't mean that she has to be part of the culture, attached to the culture. I've talked to on this show, there are plenty of white educators, or non-Black or non-Hispanic. You could be, Indian, or I don't know, whatever. You can teach hip hop. Absolutely. And my father was a brilliant man. He taught the sociology of minorities, as it was called back then, urban studies. He wasn't of those communities. My father was brilliant, but he was authentic, and he dug in, and he was woke before woke was a thing, and he understood, and he learned, and he talked, and he listened, and he studied, and he became expert at this, one of the most brilliant men that taught this field in all the land. So it can be done. But on the other hand, what's important and I've written about this, I've written about museums and libraries and educational institutions have to open the doors and their eyes first to the fact that people of the culture may not have had, and in some cases, of course they haven't, as Dr. Jenkins talked about. You can't expect them to have gone through the educational rigor and followed that path, because the system is designed to keep them out of that. But that doesn't make them any less qualified or vital to the protection, preservation, promotion, and continuance of this valuable culture. And so they're the ones you have to bring in to universities. I've personally been shortlisted on a couple of interviews at universities, which is great. I don't have a degree. It's very hard. I can't even get my resume. Once they see like education and there's nothing there, I don't even get to the next stage. But there's been a couple of places that either talk to me, I know, that have hired from within within the music business, folks that may not have been academics. Loyola College in New Orleans comes to mind. I think Mia X was on the faculty one year. And, we've seen folks like Ninth Wonder, who made a living as a musician, has degrees, but, get courses. So they've gone into that. Isn't that what we need? Isn't that right? I don't know. So that's just me. Teaching so that's the thing. Teaching hip hop culture and what I learned from hip hop can be very different conversations. See, the nuance, that's it. The nuance to this, is really, if you approach this without understanding the nuance that happens, Prism, you'll understand that, when we talk about hip hop being 50 years old last year, just as an example, and I can give you 100 of these. Not everyone in hip hop culture, especially, going back and being sort of pioneers and architects, recognizes that date or that year even. The Cool Herc timeline, and I'm using Marvel technology, the Cool Herc timeline and the Universal Zulu Nation timeline is different. There's different feelings to that. Now, I'm not saying one's right, one's wrong. It's not my place to say. I'm not a historian per se, and we could have those discussions. They should be had. They should be on the record. Everyone should talk about them, and ad nauseum, and put them into the annals of history. It's just as important as knowing whether Jesus was born in the December or actually in the summer, because these things have to be said. We can't just take these things on faith and roll with them, especially when pioneers, architects, and folks that originated this culture are still alive. But that's the nuance there. The nuance to have every single media outlet in the world, be hip hop or not, say hip hop started on August 11th, 1973. That's a misnomer. That's not even true. Even if that was the sort of the flashpoint, to say that it began that day as if it sprung up, and all of a sudden it just materialized that day, it doesn't do the culture any justice by just saying, no one can go and say jazz started on, April 16th, 19th. No one would do that. So the nuance is what's missing in a lot of these conversations. So, anyway, I'm doing my end of the show rant that I do. I love going back to the comments. I want to make sure y'all voices are heard. This isn't just me. By the way, I have a thing on the Patreon that if you, generously contribute, I think the $10 a month level, y'all can come on the show and just be on the screen just as, folk. Obviously, half of y'all I'm going to interview and have on the show anyway. But if you wanted to come on and debate me on something or converse with me or do something or have your voice heard, you could jump on and doing it. Anyway, Natalie says something needs to be said that ways in which hip hop practitioners are erased and pushed out of these spaces because they don't have 85 degrees. Knowledge of self and culture was cultivated on the block. 100%. I'd know nothing if I didn't just be in amongst the culture. I wouldn't know nothing. All the stuff I know is just, I didn't read That's the Joint. Sorry, Murray. I read some of it. I'm not gonna lie. That's important. That's so important. That's so important. Yeah. So anyway, just shouts to everyone continuing the conversation in the chat. Y'all are the folks I want to, do this show and make sure we have, have your voices heard, because I don't know where else you can get this in one place. Obviously, if you can get this kind of stuff, I probably talk about y'all And so great, another source of knowledge. Tough to appreciate, Adam Cruz says, tough to appreciate nuance when hip-hop conversations only happen when the one guest speaker comes in, or there's that one unit or the token project. Nuance requires multiple perspectives, or someone, Adam, who is willing to deliver the multiple perspectives, as I try to do. I try to learn about all the perspectives, and yeah, but absolutely. Hey, look who's in the chat. Dun, 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 you get one of these. Dr. Toby Jenkins herself. We did a pre-recorded. I didn't change my clothes real fast. As I mentioned, it was a pre-recorded interview. She had great, much love and gratitude. Had an event, but had this running, so you can rewind back and watch. Please do. And then, of course, I'll be ripping it and making it a separate whole video. It'll go out on the audio feed. Everyone in this chat was bubbling today, Toby. So everyone loved what you had to say. It was super well received, and I thank you for your time, your graciousness, your kind words, and your work. And I hope we cross paths very, very soon. So, I'm out of breath. Let me take a break here. How am I doing? Why do I still have headphones on? Remember earlier in the show, I didn't have headphones on because I'm not talking to anybody. So why don't you look how skinnier my head looks? Y'all want to know who we got coming up? First of all, did y'all thumbs up the video? Please thumbs up. It's algorithms, man. You gotta. We're almost at 600 subscribers. That's fantastic. Andrew Wang, one of our great supporters, again on the Patreon tip. I appreciate you, sir. Got work early in the morning. Teach the youth them all about the musics up in Yonkers, where the people are also fresh. And I say that because it's up in the Bronx where the people are fresh, but you're right there. So it's all good. Andrew Wang is one of the supporters that gives me a couple dollars a month. Gives the cause. I don't even like to say it's me. It's not like it goes in my pocket. Baby Girl Faces doesn't even see it. It goes into the cause. All this stuff, costs money. And obviously the systems and all the things that are systeming. So obviously if you feel so inclined, you can go to www.patreon. Y'all know how to use the internet. I don't have to do this every time. But I do help it. It does help. And what? Who's President Koopa from the Super Mario Brothers movie? Oh, I see what you're saying. It is actually an oversized sweat. You know what? Now I'm going to put the goddamn things back on. There, better. Make me feel bad. What's wrong with you, Natalie? I love you, Natalie. Okay, so that's that. So the Patreon. And remember, please, if you haven't already, substack.com. Oh, God, I'm tired now. mannyfaces.substack.com. Thumbs up this video, share it, and hit on notifications because I'll put the interview up by itself, so you'll be able to revisit it if you'd like. But also sometimes I do shorts, or I put up small little snippets, and we'll be doing more. Especially if you support the show, patreon.com. If you like this content, I will do more. I promise. Right now, I'm doing the best I can. You want to know where I'm going to be? Hey, are you in New York? I'll be in New York. I'll be in New York for the Hip-Hop Youth Research and Activism Conference, which I talk about a lot. That'll be happening in Fordham University, March 16th. It's free registration. Just go to, nope, that's not the right one. Go to that newsletter. If you haven't, subscribe, copy it, paste it, click it, go off to it right now. It's fine. I just need you to subscribe to it if you haven't already. It's free. I'll give you all these informations. I know I owe you one. Me and my little ass head will give you all the information. I'm doing a private thing at a school, so you won't see me then, but you'll see me at Fordham University for the Hip-Hop Youth and Research Activism Conference. And then I'll be somewhere else. I'll talk about that later. So want to shout out a couple things real quick in Atlanta, because I'm in Atlanta, so that's what's going to happen. If you have Andrew Wang does this all the time. He sends me stuff in Yonkers or in the New York area, especially what AJ's doing or Jerome Enders is doing up there. A lot of that area. So I put that stuff in the newsletter. Just send me stuff. Email me. Hit me on Instagram, Manny Faces Official. Share the things that are happening in your area so I can share them out to other people in the newsletter. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, I was in Atlanta, and I wanted to shout out these folks. I'm going to have them on the show. I have some reasons, but I'm not necessarily having Atlanta folk on immediately, but I'm going to. A lot of great things happen in Atlanta, but I do want to shout out the Soul Food Cypher, the folks at Soul Food Cypher. This was they've been running. It was a 12-year anniversary. So nothing happens in hip hop that isn't dope and worthy, and I don't know, just beautiful, like beautiful. Nothing happens in hip hop that isn't just dope for 12 years continuously. So Soul Food Cypher has been running for 12 years. They are a nonprofit 501c that uses money collected and donated to their freestyle rap battle events, which happens once a month. So you have buy tickets, and there's members that could be part of the cypher, and then they have open ciphers, and then have these little rap battles. It's all off the top. It's all freestyle. You know what bugs me out? I used to talk about this all the time when I talked about Freestyle Mondays and end of the week up in New York, where people don't freestyle no more. Rappers don't freestyle no more. And I'm like, y'all crazy. I know legendary ciphers in New York. I know Freestyle Mondays in New York. I know end of the week battles in New York. And that's just New York, because I know y'all could tell me about things that are happening in all the other sectors of the world. So I found the one of them in Atlanta. It's called Soul Food Cypher. Now, what they also do is they donate money. They do programming for kids in schools. They have scholarships. They have a whole bunch of great things that benefit the community. Matter of fact, you might have seen them on CNN. And I would have played the clip, but there was a lot going on this week. So maybe we'll talk about them more in depth. But I wanted to shout them out. 12 years, freestyle rap battles. I brought some out-of-towners there. They loved it. I met the folks running it. This is dope. It was my first time going there because it's only once a month, and it just so happened that like every month I had something to do. But do not think for a moment, if being with me on this show and being connected to me anyway has somehow led you astray, that the things that we love about hip hop, all the creativity, ingenuity, traditionalism, purist stuff, all that stuff doesn't exist anymore. It does. It's everywhere. If you don't know where to find it, just ask me. Go to my Instagram, hit me up on a DM, and be like, yo, I don't know where there's no more breaking events. I'm like, man, I can tell you where there's breaking events. Just let me ask my peoples if I don't even, what's part of this country you live in? We'll tell you, we'll find it. We can find it together. We can do it. All right. So whatever you want to find in hip hop, let me be your source of let me be your, what's that? Ask Jeeves. Let me be an Ask Jeeves of hip hop. If you don't know where to go, I know someone who knows, and we can find it out for you. So just shouts to Soul Food Cypher. They've done great work. They were featured on CNN as one of the like CNN hero type things. And I went, I loved it. I thought it was great. Had a great time. A lot of talent, young folk, multiracial, gender. It was a great time. It was packed because it was our 12th anniversary. I guess I think it was a little more packed than normal. They sell food there. They do it every month. So if you're in Atlanta or you're visiting Atlanta and you want that real hip hop, that's where you got to go. Shouts to Soul Food Cypher. They don't know I'm shouting them out, but I'm shouting them out. So shouts to y'all. And I'll be back. And so I'm spreading the word on Hip Hop Can Save America with your boy, Manny Faces.
Manny Faces.
You sick for this one.
All right, y'all. That's about it. Hip Hop Sherpa. Natalie. Oh, dang, Natalie. I miss you again. Yes, thumbs up this video on all of your accounts. So log off, log in, can switch it and come back and do it again. And subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed on all your, fake YouTube accounts. I got to get them numbers up. We almost at 600. Peace, Prism. Let's talk. Shouts to Chosen Hip Hop. The work they're doing is great. We're gonna talk to them soon. I still don't think I've sent out an invitation. The invitation is open, so just hit me up and be like, what's the link, and I'll give you a scheduling link. But I'll do that. If I don't do it, just ask me, because I'm all over the place. I'm only one dude, and I know you understand. And blame my scatterbrain, not my heart. And that's about it. So who's coming up? Y'all want to know? Let me see. Can I tell you real quick? It's gonna be complicated because I got all these windows open. But I know that Jamila Sims from We Are the Culture is joining us in a couple of weeks. That's going to be dope. I've got Jamila Sams, not Sims. What? I'm thinking someone else. If you know a brother named Yogi Y Not, he'll be rocking with us. My brother Divine, who I've known for a long time, is kind of working in the financial sector these days, doing some cool stuff. We've got Dr. John Jones going to be joining us. If these names are familiar to you, then you're going to be like, oh, wow, he's got some stuff lined up. If they're not familiar to you, if you watch tonight, you already know I don't bring you no nonsense. So it's a good place to be every Mondays, 9 p.m. live. I won't be here on the 18th. Won't be here on the 18th of March, but we have shows all up until then and then after. So that's it. So anyway, anything else to show you? Nah, that's all I got. I knew it was a good interview, and I knew that was gonna hold it down. So I got nothing else. I did hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. Once again, sign up for the newsletter. That's all I could tell you. Sign up for that newsletter. I got some stuff coming. It'll probably be out, I'd say Thursday. And stories of hip hop inspiration and insight on the free newsletter. And yeah, that's it. I want to talk to y'all some more, but I'm tired. I got nothing else. Once again, thanks to everyone checking in. Thanks to our sponsors, our patrons. You can go to patreon.com/Manny Faces. Just want to say their names again. Silent Night, my man, my mellow, if you know his music. Silent Night got a new album coming out. A lot of y'all know Silent Night because he is co-host with me sometimes. And, we've talked to him a few times. He's got a new album coming out. So you can find that. I want to say Bandcamp. I want to say silentnight.bandcamp.com. But we'll get him on here when he's about to release it. It's got some dope stuff. I've heard some of the stuff already. I got that inside access. You know what I mean? I just be, I got that plug. Mark E, otherwise known as Mr. Pocket, Jesse G, Toast on the bass, Nicholas S, Brianna C, Steffi, Kath, Morgan, Andrew Wang, who was here before as a patron. Raphael Travis, the great Dr. Raphael Travis is a wonderful patron as well. Our newest supporters, Patrick, Chris J, and as of this week, Adam. Adam has also joined the fray of helping support and make this possible. I do thank y'all. I do. It helps. Like, no one pays me to do this. I do other podcasts. I get paid for that. But it's like, even. I barely break even. This out here is the kindness of my heart. So I do help you. I do thank you for helping me. And that's it. My words are stumbling. So that means it's good night. It's your man, Manny Faces. We'll be back next week, next Monday live. Please tell your friends to tell some friends about what we're doing here. And I thank you for rocking with me. And that's it. I'll let y'all go. And we'll talk next week. Any last comments? Oh, yeah. Who else was joined us? Thank you. Thank you, Adam. Again, Adam Cruz is here. Natalie Crew. And Natalie, obviously, we have to have you back on. And you could bring some of your friends doing hella things, as you like to say. AJ Woodson again, once again, the great Tony Blackman. She says, you didn't see it in the chat. She's going to be here in the spring. So we're finally going to get Tony Blackman. We love Tony Blackman. That's it. Bob Knutson, once again, thanks for checking in. And I think that's about it. And of course, Andrew Wang all night, been rocking with me and helping me out. So that's it. Oh, Randy Swigum as well. So that's it. If you're in Atlanta, I'll be at the Metropolitan State College tomorrow night, Tuesday night, the intersection of hip hop and social justice. Samaya Ali, a wonderful artist activist out here in Atlanta. Yamil Little, who's doing some great work with artwork and illustrations and comic books and hip hop superheroes. It's fantastic work. We'll be on the panel. Christopher Daniel, who's a great journalist, has written for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and a bunch of other places. He's on the panel. My main man down here in Atlanta, if you know, if you're down here, his name is Bame Joyner, and he's basically the cultural ambassador of the city of Atlanta. He got his feet in so many beautiful cultural happenings here. He's hip hop to the heart. He's done so many great things for the city. I'm in awe at his work, and everyone knows who he is. And you don't do anything culturally, artistically relevant in Atlanta and not know who Bame Joyner is. And then, of course, me, Manny Faces. I'll be on this wonderful panel. So it's the intersection of hip hop and social justice in Atlanta, which I feel very honored. I've only been here a couple years. But I have a lot to say. You know that I work with Newsbeat, and I've done a lot of social justice interactions with hip hop, and I have some thoughts and I have some experience. So fantastic. What are we talking about here? Oh yeah, I want to bring Kane Mayfield, Natalie Crew, and you and Kane would be perfect. I'd love to have y'all both on at the same time. Tony Blackman was hoping it was Big Daddy Kane, which he can come too. Absolutely. I have interviewed Big Daddy Kane once in the past on the old show on the New York Hip Hop Report some years ago. So I'd love to have a redo with Kane. My favorite, I guess tied with Ra, but like Rakim's my number. If you my top five, it's Rakim number one, Kane number two. But my favorite, it's Kane and then Rakim. So they switch on greatest and favoritist. So, and great, we'll have Kane Mayfield. I'd known Kane Mayfield from when he was doing music a long time ago. I covered him when I was doing Birthplace Magazine. So I go back with a lot of these great folk doing great things. I think I just know dope people. And if you look at the people that are in this chat, I am just so honored and blessed and privileged to be sharing space with these brilliant folks. And yeah, I can't. Kane not in the top 5. Ooh, Tony, we have to have this conversation. Eek. I mean, I don't know. I think so. But, you know, top 5s are hard. I guess, I'm a nuanced guy. So I'm like, well, what are the criteria? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So I know it's, you know how we're going to go. you know how it goes. But, definitely my favorite. Like, it was always my favorite. So there's that. This chat is dope. This is what I want, y'all. I really wanted what's happening over here in the chat to be much more like a part of it. So I'm glad y'all here. We could keep this going, but we've been going for a while. But if it's a good time, every Monday live, we're here, 9 p.m. And we're gonna have some great talks coming up. I've got some great folks. I got some invites out that haven't been answered yet. But I got shows until March. So yeah, Atlanta tomorrow. I'm in New York. Excuse me. I'll be in New York, Fordham, March 16th for the Hip-Hop Youth Research and Activism Conference. I will be, I'll be in Ireland for a European Hip-Hop Studies Conference. Anyone else know about that? Yeah, I'll be there too. And so we're doing some big things. That's about it. Yeah, if you're in Atlanta or you're coming by and you visit, hit me up, say hi. And if you're in New York, hit me up and I'll let you know when I'm coming, where I'm going to be. And we can link up and do all the things. So that's it for me, y'all. I'm going to be back next Monday live, 9 p.m. Make sure you're following me on social, Manny Faces Official on Instagram, on Twitter /X, Manny Faces. And again, you can patreon.com/Manny Faces if you feel like supporting this show. I know a lot of places are asking for that. So I have no problems if you don't. It's all good. I get it. And lastly, though, this is the one thing I want y'all to do. So this is your only piece of homework besides thumbing up this video and sharing it and subscribing. Make sure your notifications turned on, all that YouTube-y stuff. If you're watching on something else besides YouTube, I see someone watching on Twitter, go to YouTube. I want us to be there. So just go to hiphopcasaveamerica.com/watch. Subscribe there. That's eventually I'm just going to be there. So I want y'all to make sure we're all there. mannyfaces.substack.com. Just go there and see what it is. It's free, but you'll see what I'm doing over there. And that's the one piece of homework. I want everyone signed up for that because that's the way I can communicate all of these conferences, all of these books, all of these videos, all of these, folks that are doing this work. I see it all. I see most of it. And I serve at the leisure of those doing the work. And all I want to do is keep advocating on their behalf. So that's the one place I'm going to do it. The newsletter's super dope. You'll see a couple. You'll be like, oh my God, I got to subscribe to this. It's free. It'll ask you to if you want to pay, you can, and I'll take it. And that's where Kath and Morgan come from. They come from subscribing on Substack. So I love it. Thank you. And that's it. I got to go because I got to produce another podcast called Uneffing the Republic, which is a good podcast too, by the way. If you like, it's like economics and progressive politics, which sounds boring, but not the way we do it. It's really good. It's called Uneffing the Republic, and you can figure out that part. It's on all your podcast platforms. We've been going for a couple years now. We've got over 2 million downloads. People do F with us on that show. It's very educational, and there's a lot of topics that get covered, whether it's economics or, again, politics, what's happening right now. It's sort of progressive leaning. So if that's your bag, you might want to check that out. Uneffing the Republic, the other podcast that I produce under Manny Faces Media, which is my company. If you need podcast work done, holler at your Manny. Other than that, okay, I love you so much. I just want to keep talking to y'all for the rest of my life, but I'll be back next, what's the day that we come? Monday. I'll be back Monday. Bob Knudsen. Oh, the international stuff. Oh, Natalie Crew, who always pesters me, by the way, to cover hip-hop internationally. Well, if y'all help me make this successful by thumbing up, liking it, sharing it, and Patreon, and subscribing to the newsletter and doing all the things, and I can find funding and I can make this big, obviously the next logical step is Hip Hop Can Save the World, which I already have the website. I'm ahead of y'all. No, I'm not ahead of y'all. I'm with y'all. Yes. But I will have sprinkled into this show because I think that to be able to save America, we can learn from hip hop that's being in the way that hip hop is being used internationally. Because I think in many cases, what we were once great at, we exported. all of hip hop, we export it to the world, but then we need to kind of re-import back. You know what I mean? It's like records. Like sometimes them UK remixes, it's pretty fire, right? And we need to re-import those singles. You know what I mean? So I think that's what happened with hip hop being used politically. Social activism. Tony can speak to this. Tony Blackman can speak to this. Of course, international travels. Mikhail Amin has been on the show talking about it a little bit. Natalie's always, making sure I mention it at least. And I would like to cover it because I think to help save America and from a hip hop lens, we can learn a lot from our international, family who have kept that sort of mantle going a little bit better, I think, in some cases than we have. We still do it. And I don't want anyone to think who's watching that, hip hop used to be all political. And no, I'm actually going on a panel tomorrow in Atlanta about hip hop and social justice. And if I'm the only one saying, yeah, but let me tell you what's happening today and what we could do to the future, when there might be people, and I don't think these folks will be doing that, but I hear it very often, all about what it was and what it used to be and how it was and how it needs. No. It's happening now. I'll give you examples. We'll do a whole show on it if I have to. But all that to say, international appeal, I want to get Natalie's opinion because obviously, Natalie, you work with, international figures. Tony, again, who's done great international work. Emil YX is going to be on the show. I've already talked to him. He's just been traveling. Y'all know who he is. International hip hop head, South Africa representative, Hip Hop Congress now, working with the UC Press and stuff. So that's my guy. I'm plugged into everybody, right? So we're going to have him on the show and give some of that international appeal. So yeah, we're working on it. I got it all going on. Sure. Of course, Chosen Hip Hop does that as well globally. So I want it all. Let's go. Let's keep it going. Help me out. If the least you could do is share and let people know what I'm doing and be like, yo, no one's doing it like Manny. And then you'd be telling the truth. Cause I know that's true. My little ego is a little bit, up there. But tell people that we're doing something pretty dope here and that they should be here every Monday live at 9 p.m. so we can keep this going. I almost don't want to bring some of y'all on until more people are watching. I don't want to waste it because y'all are so amazing. And I know people will go back through the archives, but I'm trying to build it up so that when y'all are here, people, the right people get to see, the most people possible get to see you. So yeah. So anyway, I love y'all. Hit me up anytime. Y'all know I'm accessible and I'll be around doing things. So, all right, that's it. We'll talk next week. Peace and love to you and yours. I don't have I don't have a outro thing. You know what I mean? I'll give you this one. You remember this one? This is a famous one.
Well, if we've got a new friend, I'd like to know his name.
Name? I never had one, not a real one anyway.
Then we'll give you one. One that is fitting for your many talents.
And many faces.
I don't think you can hear it. Can you hear it? You can't hear it.
Many faces.
You heard it. You did hear it. Okay, cool. I don't know. Sometimes the audio will be acting up. All right, cool. There we go. That's me, your man, Manny Faces.
Manny Faces.
You sick for this one.
So tell me what's up.
So many faces. Tell me what's up. Tell me what's up. Tell me what's up. Tell me what's up.
I could do these all day. Manny Faces of Shauna Na's Good Night, Sweetheart. I know that song. I'm old. Oh, damn, I just called you old again, Bob. I've done this to you before, and I don't mean it God damn it. You keep me on long enough, this is why I can't be president. You keep me long enough, and I say stupid things. God damn it. All right, I'm out of here, man. Bob, I love you. We'll talk soon. All right, y'all. Peace and love. Don't unsubscribe, Bob Knudsen. You're the best in the world. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace. Thank y'all.